My name's Deanna, and I'm the founder of Ivy Admissions. Today I want to talk to you about 7 important tips that you can be doing in order to make sure that your college applications stand out amongst your peers. As a high school junior, you're probably wrapping up with your final exams, AP tests, SATs, ACT, and subject tests, and it can be really overwhelming. Now is the time to start thinking about what you're going to be writing in your college applications. The first tip that I want to talk to you about is the importance of extracurricular activities. As a high school junior, you've probably already spent a lot of time in your high school working in clubs, volunteering, or being in a sport. And those are great on your college applications. Colleges love to see that you're very involved in your high school. But now as summer is coming around the corner, what are the things that you can be doing in order to make yourself stand out? At Ivy Admissions, we help our students gain unique experiences through internships and volunteer experiences that they wouldn't normally tap into through their high school. For example, if you're interested in pursuing a career in law, we would try to match you up with a local lawyer or one that you may have some personal contact with through your parents or your own personal network. You can reach out to lawyers through cold emails or through warm emails and ask them if they're willing to host you to shadow them for 1 or more days. While this sounds like only a few hours of experience, it actually can be really impactful to write about these experiences on your college applications. Colleges and universities love to see that students actually have real-world knowledge about what they're interested in studying. Switching gears from the law school example or the lawyer example, if say you're interested in medicine, you want to pursue a career in medicine and be a future physician. One of the best things to do is to either volunteer in a hospital or to spend some time shadowing a local physician. You can do this by reaching out to your local family doctor or any pediatricians or family doctors in your area through emails and phone calls. You'd be really surprised as to how receptive these professionals can be into hosting you for 1 or more days. Being someone who's probably gone through the process themselves, they want to give back and help students like you get a little bit of experience in their fields. If you're a little bit confused and you're interested in a career outside of law or medicine and you don't know what you want to look for a summer experience, feel free to reach out to us at Ivy Admissions and we're happy to help guide you. All right, so now that we've talked about the importance of extracurricular activities and how you can gain some more of those during your summer, I want to talk to you about tip number 2. Tip number 2 is that you should have an overall cohesive and coherent narrative for your college application. Colleges and universities want to see a theme. They don't want to see piecemeal essays about 1 or more different experiences that you've had. Rather, they'd like to see how you have developed as a person throughout your high school career, how you have gained interest in the major that you want to pursue, and what is causing you to look forward and want to be the profession that you want to be. A lot of students tend to start their college essays talking about one very important topic that is very impactful to them. This can be the essay that's about someone who's most inspiring to you. But then they'll end up writing about another shorter free response question about an experience that they've had throughout high school. And the problem with that is that these 2 topics, they don't interact at all. There's no development across the essays, and there's no connection between the 2. And so at Ivy Admissions, we help our students develop an overall theme that then relates to all of their essays. What I mean by this is that we want you to pick a few key qualities that you think really exhibits who you are as a person. And once you've picked those qualities, we want to put those qualities within a couple different stories. Each of these stories can be about different activities, different experiences that you've had, but they should relate to your overall goals. It's almost like you should have a thesis statement for all of your essays, and then all of your essays should be able to work together. It's important to remember that admissions officers are typically looking through your college application from start to finish. Admissions officers rarely spend more than a few minutes on all of your essays, and if they're reading through your essays and they feel like they're not getting to know who you are and that your story is not developing over time, you're not going to stand out in their mind as much as another applicant who did that. So that's why tip number 2 is one of our most important tips and one of the things that we spend the most time on with our students. All right, guys, so now I want to talk to you about tip number 3. And tip number 3 is really about time management and getting started early. College applications typically are due anywhere from the end of October, Halloween is where the first deadlines start to approach, all the way through the beginning of January 1st or a little bit later than that. So a lot of students will end up starting their college applications in the fall once school kicks off, and that is a big mistake. You have 3 months where you're not in school, you're not taking tests, and you're not having to juggle all of the responsibilities of your senior year. So that's why at Ivy Admissions, we try to have our students start their essays and start working on their college applications as early as possible. I highly recommend that students begin writing their essays, or at least developing frameworks for their essays, as early as June. Once you have the common application essays, which are out, in fact, so you can find a link to that at the end of this webinar. Once you have those essay questions, it doesn't take a lot to start brainstorming. The common application offers a variety of prompts for you to choose from, and so you're able to look through and see which of the prompts best reflects yourself and your experiences. Remember, tip number 2 is that you need to have an overall cohesive theme. So keep that in mind when you're picking a personal statement prompt. By the way, a personal statement prompt refers to the common application, the coalition application, or any school that has their own individual applications largest essay. You should think of that as your personal statement, and you'll end up having anywhere from 1 to 3 of these, depending on how many schools that you're applying to. So start early, get some feedback from your parents, friends, start writing rough drafts, wrestle with your writing. Good writing takes time. It's not something that's going to come out of you at one point and then you can submit. The best essays that we've seen at Ivy have been revised at least 9 or 10 times. So in order to get to that many revisions, you need to start early enough to give yourself time to write, reflect, edit, and revise. And that process, if you stick to that, you're really going to be able to create a beautiful piece of writing. All right. So now going back to tip number 3, it's going to lead us straight into tip number 4, which is the importance of structured essay. So tip number 4 is that all of your essays should be structured. So we have a lot of students that come to us and they want to write a creative essay about the past summer experience teaching at a summer camp, or their transition through band, through a variety of different instruments. And while creative essays like that, where you take a unique approach, start somewhere in the middle of a story, go throughout, have cliffhangers and things like that, while those can be really engaging essays, we do not advise students to use these on their college applications. It can be very hit or miss, and it depends on whether or not the college admissions officers that are reading your essays, which, by the way, if you're applying to 10 or more schools, you're banking on 10 or more people needing to have the same consistent opinion about your essay. So if you have a reader that isn't vibing with your creative narrative that you've put together, that can be a complete wash. You can basically lose out on your essay when that admissions officer is not able to really understand your point or see where you're coming from. And so tip number 4 is all about creating a structured essay. So at Ivy Admissions, we like to create a 5-paragraph, well-structured essay that starts with a thesis, has 3 main points, and then expands those 3 points. And while that may sound dry and boring, we have a formula and a method in order to make these essays as engaging as a creative essay, but it has a logical flow so that you're not going to have your reader get lost while they're going through your essay. All right, so now that we've talked a bit about your college essays, when you need to start writing your essays, and the importance of extracurricular activities outside of school, I want to talk to you about tip number 5, which is having a positive web presence. This is something that a lot of college applications don't really include, and they don't really think about this when they're putting them together. So when you're writing your college applications, you're trying to put your best foot forward. You're trying to explain all of the positive qualities about you. But what students don't realize is that, especially elite universities, they're going to be doing a Google search of your name. And while all high school students have Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram, you want there to be more about you on the web than just your social media. And so that's why tip number 5 is all about building a positive web presence, and the way that Ivy helps our students do that is through the writing of op-eds. Op-eds, or opinion editorials, are short 500 to 700 word pieces of writing that respond to a local news issue or an international or global or US issue, something that's breaking, something that happened just now. And an op-ed allows a student to provide their own opinion, to say what they feel about something that just happened. And so the reason why op-eds are so helpful is because they allow us to strengthen your overall theme. So we talked a little bit back about, the importance of a cohesive theme, having an overall narrative for yourself. And so when you're thinking about an op-ed, we want you to think about what actually relates to your interests. For example, we have students who are interested in business, women students who are interested in business, and they can write op-eds about what they feel about the gender equality in the workplace or the pay gaps between men and women as executives. Those are really good topics that relates back to what they want to do in their future. By writing an op-ed on a topic that they are passionate about, they're able to demonstrate to colleges and universities that, hey, I'm passionate about this. I care about this. I want to be a change maker. I want to cause this industry or this issue to change. And so when you're thinking about an op-ed, you want to dig deep. What are you passionate about? What do you care about? Is it the recent political climate in the United States? Do you want to write about the race relations issues in the United States? Is there something global that's happening, maybe in any of the wars across the world, or maybe issues in the Middle East? Whatever it may be, make sure that that topic relates back to what you are interested in doing, what you are interested in pursuing. So at Ivy, we have a formula for writing op-eds. We make it really easy. And if you're interested, feel free to shoot us an email or give us your contact info at the end of this webinar, and we'll send you our free resources on how to write an op-ed. The last thing to remember when you're writing an op-ed is that it takes time. So you want to make sure that, 1, you're responding to an issue within 24 hours of something happening, and 2, that you're reaching out to enough editors and publishers at newspapers so that you have a good chance of someone wanting to pick your article. Don't be disappointed if the first time you write something, no one gets back to you. And if you get critical feedback back from an editor or a publisher, take that, refine and revise your writing, and resubmit your piece. The last thing that I want to say is make sure that you get a couple of sets of eyes on your writing to make sure that, 1, it's logical and it flows, and that you don't have any gaps in your arguments. And so tip number 5 is all about this web presence, and you can feel free to reach out to us at Ivy if you're interested in trying to develop that for yourself. All right, so now tip number 6 is all about your standardized tests, and it's about having targeted test prep methods in order to make sure that you're increasing your score as efficiently and effectively as possible. So as a high school junior, you've probably taken your SAT or your ACT or even both exams 1 or more times, and that's okay. So if you're in the position that right now, this summer, you're not happy with your score, follow these tips in order to help you boost that score. At Ivy Admissions, we work with our students to identify their weak points within an exam and then supplement with content review in order to help improve their question efficacy on following tests. And so we do this in a number of ways. The first way is that we use trackers in order to look at the different question types and competencies that are tested on both the SAT and the ACT. By using these trackers, which you can get from us at Ivy Admissions, so feel free to reach out if that's something that you need. By using these trackers, what we're able to do is we're able to see how is a student doing in algebra questions, how is a student doing in probability, how is a student doing in statistics, and then in the reading side, how are they doing with their command of evidence? How is their ability to understand words in context? What is their understanding of writing conventions and English conventions and the grammar rules that go within the reading comprehension and writing sections of the SAT? By following these patterns, you're able to identify your weakest points, and then by identifying your weakest points, you know what to review. For example, with the SAT math section, we will codify each different question on every single SAT practice test that's offered by the College Board. By codifying these questions, we know which content and which competencies each question is testing. And once we have that data, we're able to say, okay, you got questions 1, 4, 8, and 15 wrong on the no calculator section, and those questions correspond directly to the advanced math topics on the SAT. After getting that data, we're then able to help you prepare by supplementing with some content review in exactly what you need to know. And so this works really well because you're not doing static test prep. When you buy the Kaplan or Princeton Review, or you go through any of the online classes that exist, you're going A to Z, and you have to get through C to get to the end. When you're going through all of these different modules, you're only getting maybe 2 to 4 pages of content review and then 12 questions to follow. And that's really not really enough for you to know what you're good at and what you're not good at. And so that's why at Ivy Admissions, we use targeted test prep, and it is the best method in order to increase your score at the highest possible amount as quickly as possible. And if you're interested to learn more, feel free to reach out. All right, so now tip number 7 that I want to talk to you guys about is a little bit existential. And it's not about your resume anymore, or your college essays, or your test prep scores. It's all about your passion. And see, this is one that students often forget to look at because it doesn't have to necessarily be written down in your college application. But I really encourage you to think deeply and reflect a lot about what are you passionate about. A lot of students will say, you know, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a teacher, but if you don't have a substantial reason as to why you want to do these things, and if that reason doesn't have depth in understanding from your own self, then colleges are able to pick that out very quickly. It is not enough to say that I want to be a doctor because I want to help people. Rather, you should think very, very deeply about what the career entails, what the study entails, and how it's going to impact you and your life moving forward. Remember that these 4 years in college are critical. You're going to spend a really concentrated amount of time developing yourself over the next 4 years, and you want to make sure that you're doing so in something that you actually care about. And so this reflection is not only important just for your college application, but it really helps you to be focused as soon as you walk into college. And so tip number 7 is really all about doing that thinking, doing that deep dive. And so at Ivy Admissions, we have a variety of exercises that we go through with our students in order to really uncover what they're passionate about. Sometimes students have engaged in a couple different types of experiences, and they'll be able to articulate what they liked about the experiences, but not really what they were passionate about. And what we can do is we can help you understand why you liked certain things from an experience. For example, say you've done tutoring in the past and you really enjoy those aha moments that you have with students. You know, that can mean that you're passionate about development. You're passionate about seeing others learn. You're passionate about seeing people succeed. And so tip number 7 is really about thinking deeply about why you like the things that you do, why you invest the time in the things that you do, and why you like to study the things that you do. So if you have any questions on how to figure out your passion and develop your personal narrative, which is a tip that we talked about a little bit back, feel free to reach out, and we have plenty of resources that can help you go through these exercises either on your own or with one of our consultants. Thank you so much for watching this today, and I really hope to hear from you soon. At Ivy Admissions, we're all about helping you out. We want to make you get to the best possible school that's the right fit for you. And so if you have any questions or you want to have any of our free resources, please visit our website at www.ivyadmissions.co or send us an email at the end of this webinar. Thank you so much.